Alright guys, let's hopefully this works a little bit this time around. I am using OBS, so hopefully some people um, come on by and chat with me. So let's just take a look here. So I don't know how many of you guys were actually watching the previous one, but there's been some developments, I guess you would say, in the Gentoo world, or even in the Linux world. So at least Gentoo with regards to me. So recently with this desktop, I was having issues. Around Christmas time, there was there was at least all I did was reboot and open RC. Nothing would mount. Uh, it did get me into a prompt, but yeah, I don't know what happened. It's only root would mount, but my home partition and my boot partition would not mount whatsoever. So I just don't know what's been going on. It's hopefully some people will come in here. I'm trying to do a live stream, so hopefully I can chat with you guys. I'm gonna try to make this more of a Q&A instead of me rambling on. So if you guys have any questions, Linux-wise or about me personally, just let me know. Um, I think so far it's this is working. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. Um, again, I am using a brand new system, OBS, or Open Broadcasting System, so hopefully everything should be working. Let's bring up my WeChat here. Let's put it over here. So, yeah, so I rebooted this system and everything decided not to work. Again, boot and my home partition would not mount. So I had to redo this entire system from scratch again after I got back from a family trip. Um, so hopefully some people will come join in a little bit. But I had to rebuild it, and I don't think it's back to where I had it before. Let me take a look here. So, yeah, so I had to rebuild this, but for whatever reason, my simple screen recorder, the stuff that I do to record my videos, does not work. It fails on compilation. So I'm using again OBS, and hopefully this is working. So far, everything seems to be working, and keeping an eye on the health of the stream. So hopefully this will be working. Um, so I don't know if I'm going to stay full time on Gentoo, just because I do need simple screen recorder uh, to do my videos. I am going to keep uh, Gentoo on my laptop for sure. I'll try to keep this on here, but I do need simple screen recorder to work and everything to do videos on here and on my desktop and on my laptop. So I feel that going to another distro is going to be weird because again, I told you guys in one of my videos that I did Gentoo to learn. All right, can you guys hear me at all? Is it just spinning? Can you hear? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try not to say it. Can you hear me a lot? So I've looked at other distros in the past before moving to Arch and Gentoo, I've looked at OpenSUSE, Fedora, briefly Manjaro, uh, and I also did Sabayon before coming to Gentoo. Sabayon seems okay, but I feel like I need more of a power user since I do use uh, a lot of shortcuts. I am a window manager user, even though I'm on XFCE here, just to prove to Dirk that I do use desktops environments. And from what the video that uh, Das Gregor put out today, it's not just a blinking prompt with white dots on it. It's not a black background with blinking dots. You can make it to whatever you want. So, so yeah, I need a power user, uh, more of a power user's thing. So it's either Gentoo. The five power user distros that I consider are Gentoo, Arch, OpenSUSE, Fedora a little bit, and Debian. I feel like those, but with OpenSUSE, Fedora, and Debian, they give you a base of basic uh, applications, and then you have to take it away or add. Where in Gentoo and in Arch, you can decide it yourself. And I think I've been on these types of distros long enough that I know which I do know which programs I need. So it would be really hard to go back to say like Mint or Ubuntu or an Ubuntu base derivative. Is everything still working fine, Adrian? Hopefully you guys can still hear me because the uh, the stream on YouTube doesn't seem to like my bandwidth, so that's why you've been seeing a lot of stream potentials from me. But again, it's just fine tuning what you can do. So hopefully you guys can again hear me and everything. So. But I wanted to do kind of a on-the-fly Linux bites, and I'm going to preview Mumble, which I kind of want to try to do from now on instead of if this live stream doesn't work. So Mumble is a voice where you can talk through voice instead of, it's like similar to an IRC, but through voice. So if I bring up my terminal here and do emerge AV and say Mumble, the Linux distro community has its own Mumble. It used to be very big when Spatry was around, and he used to do a lot of his shows from there. But I don't think too many people use it now. I would like to change that this year. Hopefully, if this like streams don't go well, I'll do a regular video and you guys can interact with me through that. I'll at the end of one of my previous videos, I'll say, hey, I'm going to do it at this time on this day. You guys should, come on by. So it looks like there's 14 packages for Mumble and a bunch of Qt3 and Qt scripts. So there's nothing else that I really need to do for this. I don't think there's any other use flags that I need, so I'm just going to let that compile as I talk to you guys. There's there's different settings that you would need to join the Mumble, at least on LDC. There's a push to talk, which you have to push a selected button down on your keyboard to talk, because if you have the mic open, you're going to get the ambient noise in the background and everything else like that. So again, this is just a brand new, I thought I'd try to do this. Try and wanted to talk to you guys live and show you guys what I tend to do in my videos, like preparing my videos. So if you guys have any questions that you have for me, anything you want to see, or just you want to get my take on anything in the Linux world, please put it in the live chat. So far, only like one person has done it, so I think everything is still going fine. It wasn't buffering before, so I think I have everything perfect. So let me take a look at this. Let everyone know in the IRC. So this is taking a little bit of time. There's cool different things which I love about Gentoo is that you can see the progress. So the F is a alias which is telling me where it is fetching the stuff from the source pile. So that's one of them that I do. The other one is the emerge log, which just tells me I'm on 4 of 14 instead of once this starts compiling, you're not going to see these numbers at all. So, which is if you're in a big compile like a world update, then you don't know how far along you are. Another one that I like to do is, again, there's a program called glop, and it follows your compile. So it watches the compiling on there, and then you could tell it, if it's been compiled before, like in a world update, it will give you a estimated time when it's done, which I love that about it. It's not like you're blindly compiling and stuff like that. So this might take a little bit because I am doing a video. My wife's watching some of her stuff upstairs, so I think this is going to take a while. So I just wanted to talk, let you guys know what's been going on. Trying to do some more vlogs instead of a lot more tutorials because I'm to the point where I don't need to, fumble around different stuff. Whenever I do, I try to make a video of it now, just so I have a video record and I could show you guys what I've gone through, even with little hiccups like in my i3 video, my latest i3 video. So in my last one, I tried to get Ranger to preview. Let's see if it still works at all. I don't think it will. Okay, so it looks like I just needed to reboot. So it did look like my last video. You could see that's one of my backgrounds. I have considered going back to Arch Linux, even though I've said their community sucks. It is just a rock stable distribution. It is nice to be on the bleeding edge at times, but you don't need to be on the bleeding edge for if you're just going to be making YouTube videos or showing people basic stuff, or I consider basic stuff like the ZNC bouncer. Took me a little bit, but I don't consider that, newbie or intermediate or advanced. I don't know where I would place that in. So hopefully some of you guys can, give me some questions and do the live chat, because I don't know what else to talk about. I was planning on possibly doing a video on the Lux/LVM Arch Linux. I still might do that. I did promise that in one of my previous videos, and this year, if I promise a video, I'm going to do it, no matter what happens. So, to be honest, why I didn't want to do it before, because pretty much Meshi's video was perfect. He explained everything, and I don't think I could explain it any better than what he did, but I can still do one if people want, because I did run the full encryption of LVM on Arch Linux. It wasn't as difficult. The only thing I could not figure out is how to get Grub to work. I'm sure there's a setting that I need in Arch or in the Grub default theme, but systemd boot was very interesting, but I do miss a little bit of the screen that Grub gives, that you can theme it. With systemd boot, it did not, you only get to see your entry, and that's it. So the entries that you have, so if you have a dual boot, you would see both of the OSs. So usually I dual boot with Windows. I could see Windows with that. But again, I like to theme instead of just having a black screen. Yeah, system boot is really good. I think Grub is getting old. That's for sure. I have not tried Sys Linux, uh, which is another one. Let's open up. Let me see some screenshots of the Sys Linux. Because to me, because I started back in the late 80s, early 90s, and there wasn't much of a boot up part of it. So it does look uh, very interesting, to say the least. To me, this looks straight out of the old systems. From, like when you watch, say, Office Space, you have that command prompt, and this does look straight out of, again, the olden days, and I kind of like that. It can manage EFI and everything. Let me see if I can show you systemd boot here, show you what that looks like. Deboot. Yeah, pretty much systemd boot is this, a black screen with, but that's all you need though. That's the thing. That's all you really need. You don't need the grub and everything else like that. It does its purpose. You're only going to see this for a few seconds, if that. So, greetings, Harry Cox. How are you doing tonight? So, yeah, I like to test stuff like this out. I may try to do the Sys Linux, or maybe, see, on Gentoo, I did install systemd one point. I don't know if I'm going to do that again. It didn't really make my performance any bigger or any faster. It might have shaved a couple seconds off, but with everything, I am really enjoying OpenRC, to be honest. So let me show you what a little bit of OpenRC. So it's just another init system. So RC status. So a lot of these system level programs are encompassed in systemd. So the big fight over systemd is one point of failure. If there's a big humongous bug in systemd and can be exploited, then your whole system will crash and you can't get in. Where if something similar happens in Gentoo with OpenRC, you could still probably get in. But I don't think like the average Linux user really cares what init system. I think the whole argument is for those like computer scientists and a very hardcore like technology enthusiast. I think even though I do have a degree in computer networking and stuff, I don't really care too much on what my init system is. It did take me a little bit for OpenRC to get used to OpenRC, because with systemd, it's just systemctl enable blank, and that's all you need. But with OpenRC, you have to say rc update add whatever to the default, which would run right now, or you can do it to boot, which the ALSA needs to be started at boot time and not as a general thing, which I don't know if you need to do that on, say, like Arch Linux or any of the other Debian or systemd distros out there. I have tried to maybe look at Void Linux because I do know Luke Smith, another YouTuber, Linux YouTuber, moved over that to just try something new and try to get away from systemd, and I think he likes it. He did consider going to like Gentoo, but he decided to go on Void Linux. Kira from the LDC, and he's tried Void Linux and he likes it. But, again, not every system is, perfect and everything else like that. So, but yeah, I've been still, let's see where my compile is at. So, this is the cool part of those programs I showed earlier. So, on a compile like this, if you go sudo tail log fetch, it'll tell you what it's fetching. And then the tail emerge log will tell you what number you're at. And then the glop it tells you how long it's been compiling. And if you have compiled this before, as I have with Qt GUI, it will say less than a minute and then any time now. So if we take a look at this, it should show up anytime now. What I am compiling is Mumble for those of you guys who have joined. So Mumble is just a voice thing that the prior people in the LDC who's made videos could talk. Spatry, when he was making videos like his Zoo Crew or whatever it is, he would use the LDC's Mumble server to do that because it's just easier to get multiple people at one spot instead of doing. I'm assuming Brian Lunduk uses like Skype or Google Hangouts. I don't know exactly what he uses to do his shows, but it's just simpler. You don't need to see the person. You just, if you're, interviewing them, you just talk to them. So hopefully, again, this should take too long. Usually when it speeds up like that, it should be almost done, and I should be on, yep, installing number 7. So it should come up with the 8th package, Qt SQL, and it should take less than a minute. I do love this program. I think I saw it in one of Meshy's videos, or I got it from Meshy, or one of Das Gregor. I think he did QLOP, which is very similar to that. So I'm going to show you guys, because I do plan on doing more Mumble stuff, talk to you guys more direct instead of you looking at me or you just hearing my voice. I would like to talk to you guys and get your feedback and everything else like that. So, but yeah, I again may not do full Gentoo. I think it's just, it does take a lot of time to manage a system, even with 2 systems. And normally what I do is on my laptop, I SSH into this system and do it that way. But with the compiling times, it still takes a lot of time. And I can't do anything Linux until my son goes to bed. So that does take a little time. But I'm going to put another virtual machine on here, and I can review some interesting programs or interesting distros that I've seen. One of them is called Red Core Linux, which it's an LXQT version of Gentoo with a GUI. It's very similar to like Calculate Linux, where they have their own servers and have their own stuff, but it's based off of Gen 2. It does look very similar. I'm very curious how close to Gen 2 it is. I may put it on one of my spare laptops, but that one's very I got it from my work and it had Fedora on there. It's not a very speedy machine, so but for the guys who are watching, if you guys again have any questions for me, I can answer. This is again, as the title says, it's just gonna be. I hope this works. It was gonna be randomness. So I did actually go see. I'm gonna try to do mostly Linux, but I'm just gonna, let you guys see the real me because in my videos I just stick to my point, tell you guys how to do something, and you don't get to see too much of like a personality from me a little bit. 'Cause I do go back and I do watch my videos even after I've uploaded them just to see what I've promised, what mistakes I've done. Can you see it on a mobile phone and everything else like that? And yes, I know it's an iPhone. I fucking hate it. It's slowing me down, and I know that Apple has updated or has slowed down older iPhones, and that pisses me off. The only reason why I'm on an iPhone is FaceTime. My parents have an iPhone, my dad has an iPhone, my brother has an iPhone, and to keep in touch with family members in like other states and even up in Chicago, I I tried to get them over to like Skype or something else like that, but they won't do it. So the only way for me to, you know, have my parents talk to my son is through FaceTime. So I am planning on getting an Android. If you guys have a suggestion on what kind of Android, please let me know. I did love Android before. I think I had a Galaxy S6. It was very bloaty, the only thing I don't like about that, but I might try like a Pixel or a Pixel 2. But I think the Pixel 2 scares me a little bit just because it's like from what I read or have heard on like podcasts and stuff is that it like listens in on you, and I don't know if I like that. So the most common thing actually that people want to know is where I got my Gen 2 t-shirt. It's the one that I have on. See if you can see it here. Everyone seems to like it. I didn't order it from anywhere. There's a local guy who set up a t-shirt shop, and it was $20 for the material, and you just needed to have like a stencil, and it took about like 15 minutes, and it was like 20 bucks. So I might try to do another one like this, but maybe of i3 symbol or something similar, something very geeky like that, so I can wear it. I do like to have a Gen 2 shirt or just a shirt. I was gonna plan on making like an Arch Linux logo, which I still might do. I still like Arch, even though I've ranted and raved about, how shitty their community is, but a lot of people don't understand why I updated. I think I got a comment why I update every single day. Well, it's a rolling release, and I want to know if you let it go for a month or 2 months and you do a massive update, you don't know what's going to break your system. So that's what I say to that. So yeah, I just don't really care much for it. Um, you don't need to update every day, but I was on the testing repos, so constant new stuff came, but I could not use Arch Linux without the testing repos. I found it boring and waiting on certain stuff I needed. So, like the new kernels, I would like to test those out. Sometimes I think one of the kernels like borked my system or something like that, or not borked it, but like really slowed it down. And I think it was like the 3.10 kernel. I think it caused one of my USBs not to work. Like it would not mount, it wouldn't do anything. I think I had to go into my FSTAB and do it that way. So, which I don't want to do. If I take a USB stick and I plug it into my computer, I want my file manager to read it. I shouldn't have to mess with the FSTAB to mount it. However, if I get like another hard drive in there, I think I will probably have to do it that way. I think Meshi with his full encryption Arch Linux desktop, he had a 4 TB, so he had to do it through his FSTAB, where he created a mount in uh, the mount point here in the file system, and then symlinked everything into his home folder. So, which is an interesting idea. I actually find that quite fascinating that he would do something similar to that. I've never done anything like that, and I think he just does a lot of symlinking, which, if you're having internet issues, and because I think he symlinks a bunch of stuff, like his vimrc. So if you have a poor internet connection or Dropbox goes down, you don't have that config file. So I rather have it on my system. So I'm wondering for the guys who are watching, what distro you guys are using, and how did you guys find my channel? Did you do a search? Because the cool thing about the new interface for YouTube is it tells you how people find your videos, which I kind of like. I don't put too much emphasis on the analytics. It just tells you how much watch time, because if you base your videos on the watch time, I think they want me to, I think most common, like my videos are like 15 minutes long, but people only watch for like 3 minutes. So I don't know if I could do a anything in 3 minutes except for like a Linux byte thing. So, like if I was doing the mumble, which I'm compiling now, I would have compiled it prior to this and trying to make it as short as possible. But if you guys want more frames dropped, crap. All right. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Again. All right. Interceptor. Awesome. Thank you very much. Hey, don't worry about your typing. I know everyone's not their English is not their first language, so I don't care if you're a horrible typer as long as I get the gist, you're fine. And all I do want is to help you guys be, show you a new thing like the INXI. I actually just learned it from one of my friends on Google Plus, so which I find quite fascinating. Okay, I guess I can't. Oh, all right. So I'm going into it. I'll show you guys what other people see in their creator. If you make videos, it does tell you. Hey, 9 people watching. Yay. So this is my actual account. So for fun, I like to unicycle. I learned that in college, which if you guys have any chance to try to unicycle, I would do it. No, I have not tried any of the package managers like Nix or Guix or anything like that, but I can. Again, me personally, me playing around with Linux, I think I have been pretty stable for the last couple years. Ever since my son's been born, I don't have a lot of time to play around. So I can look at those and let you guys know. Good evening, Almighty Ohm. I do like that. Um, I was actually with the Linux or Total OS today. I think I was in his live stream. He gave me the idea to use OBS, and that's what I'm using. So it live streaming is not as simple as a lot of people make it out to be. I actually had to watch a video on how to do it. So especially with OBS, I do follow other people. Um, in my personal one, I do watch the Nostalgic Critic. I do the Angry Video Game Nerd. I find him funny because I do. I remember getting pissed off at a lot of those games as a kid, especially the Back to the Future one that he did. I found a lot of his stuff funny, though, like recently, I think he's just trying too hard, personally. I'm into Dragon Ball Z. I just watched The Last Jedi. I don't know how to take it, to be honest. I just I thought it was a mishmash of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So, yeah, OBS is great. It did take me a while to figure out the figure out the bit rate and stuff like that, how to input it, because you have to put a certain key to get it. And if you have over 100 subscribers, I think you can live stream. So if any of you guys have 100 subscribers and want to live stream, go right ahead. I would actually probably watch that. I do watch some of the live streams, not all, but I do like top 10 lists, Super Carlin Brothers, Beyond Science. You can see it's just a mismatch of stuff. Linux for You and Me was big in the chess. CinemaSins I found hilarious. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but they take a movie and find all the sins in a movie, even if it's like a badass movie. They find like logical loopholes and stuff like that, which I find funny. I usually just subscribe to something. If I keep watching their videos, I will subscribe. So a lot of this stuff, Infinitely Galactic, I don't think he's done anything in a while. Let's see, his last video. When I started Linux, I a bunch of Linux YouTubers. That's how I learned a lot of stuff, was from Linux YouTubers like Infinitely Galactic, Spatry for a bit, and Matthew Moore for a bit. I can tell you exactly when I stopped watching Spatry, and that was when he did his Gentoo base install, when he had to dress up like a girl because I think Caddy from Linux for You and Me dared him. You don't have to do it. He looked fucking scary. And I'm like, yep, I'm done with his videos. Plus, I actually did some Google Hangouts with him. He seemed a little, pretentious, a little, kind of arrogant a little bit, because, I went in, because back when Google Hangouts was big, it was, he would say, hey, guess what? I'm in a Google Hangout. Well, I'm like, okay. So I went in there. He was talking to some people. He's like, "Oh, who's that?" "Oh, it's just one of my subscribers." Not a hello, not like, "Oh, yeah, it's just, one of my subscribers." I'm like, "Okay. Well, if I'm one of your subscribers, shit." Why did it down? Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you guys could still hear me. It just, I have, damn. I have YouTube up on my other monitor and it just said I'm offline. So if you guys can hear me, let me know. Alright, I'm gonna see here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Like, I just went offline on my end, I think. So, again, let me know. Alright, I think it might be working again. But it is going in and out, so I do apologize, guys. I think my bandwidth is not very good. I'm probably going to switch to a different ISP. So, again, let me guys know if you guys can hear me or not. Alright, I'm going to keep my eye on the... It gives me stream health. Yeah, I know about some frame drops. I don't know if I have the bandwidth for this, but it was working for a long time, so... Alright, so once... So I just got chatting and everything. Alright, good. Sorry about the frame drops. This is brand new to me, so... Sorry, guys. So let's see if Mumble is... there's Mumble. So Mumble is very cool. You can do the... Whoa. So there is a wizard. I do have a saved certificate, so I can import my certificate. So once you get set up, you can export the certificate. So it will save your username and everything, but the only thing it doesn't save is the servers that you can go into. So there's a bunch of them that are on. I don't know if many people still actually use Mumble that much, but I could be wrong. Again, we used to use it a lot when we did the Linux podcast show. When that's the first thing that we did when we started the YouTube channel. So glad you guys can hear me. Hopefully you guys can hear me. The live chat is not very up to date, so if you guys are typing and I'm not responding to you, I'm sure it's because of the internet. So, but I forgot what I was saying. So, but yeah, okay. I was, when I first started, all I did was search for YouTubers because I'm a visual learner. I learn based off of it. I watched Oh Hey It's Lou, which I still go back to some of his videos when I was helping with the elementary project, like troubleshooting. Their kernel isn't very up to date, and Lou did a video on how to update an Ubuntu based kernel. And what do you know? A lot of the issues that people were having vanished. So I I stopped helping out with them after the whole big thing I was getting tired of, doing the same questions. I was still helping. I still like to help. But yeah, um, so excuse me. Yeah, my family just got, you know, the flu, got done with the flu. So I'm probably about to get it. I'm usually like the last person to get it. So especially with a kid going to daycare, it's like little petri dishes. So it's a lot of the the taboo or the cliche stuff about parenting is kind of true in a way, especially with the sickness, because one of my coworkers' fiance works in a daycare, and some parents brought a kid who had the flu to daycare. I'm like, no, fucking stay home, because now other kids are going to get sick, then the parents are going to get sick. There's no wonder there's a pandemic of the flu in my town. So I am actually originally from Chicago, but I do live in central Illinois, uh, home of the Redbirds, ISU. So that's where I'm located. So if you guys are nearby, you guys can, you know, message me and I can meet you guys. I don't think I've ever met a subscriber in real life, so I try to, I would love to meet. I think my mind would be blown if I met someone who actually watched a single thing of my videos in the real world. So, all right, it looks like the stream health is a lot better. So, yeah, go Bears. I'm not surprised when they fired John Fox. So, we haven't been good since for a while. Uh, we did go to the Super Bowl, but I think that was not. I think that was based off of luck. I really do. I don't think we were talented enough for it. I'm trying to get away from like the sports part, at least American sports. Anytime rugby is on, I watch that. I find rugby fascinating because it's like a combination of soccer, which with the big ass field, and football with the tackling. It's nonstop action, and I find it awesome. Yeah, but the Bears might suck, almighty but not as much as the 0-16 Browns. So at least we won a few games this year. But I think I don't again I don't follow Chicago sports like fanatically, but I think we're going to get the Patriots offensive coordinator. So okay, I will try to do that. Let me at least do this. Get rid of these. Get rid of that. I'm going to try to keep at least some things up. Not completely do it down. Alright, so that's GUCV. It did take me a while to get everything working on this time around on my desktop because the first time I did Gentoo on this machine, I did the Gen kernel and it does a lot of work for you, so I had to figure out the different modules and stuff. Yeah, I'll try to do like my CPU shouldn't be that overtaxed, but we'll see. Yeah, I got 4 of them. 1.4 gigs out of 16, and I do have like 8 gigs of swap, I think. Alright, I'll keep an eye on this. You guys get to see what it looks like. This is URXVT, by the way, too. I do like it, but not in a desktop environment, which is weird because I think I guess I can open up XFCE terminal. Hey, there we go. It's a little bit bigger now. So I know I've done this in the past video, the INXI, but here are the specs of my computer. It is a homebrew. Yeah, it's a homebrew from one of my friends here. So I have the Realtek gigabyte, 16 gigs. He's a hardcore gamer, so some his Windows partition is still in there with some games that I've been playing recently. Uh, the weird thing with the Gentoo kernel at least was my graphics card, my AMD card. I built it into the computer itself, into the kernel, but it would not work. I had to make it as a module, which was very strange. So as you could see here, where are you? Yeah, Radeon right here. So I had to build, yeah, another Radeon. I had to build the Radeon components into as modules into my kernel, which I don't understand why. It might have been like that before, but all right. Uh, Hopefully this doesn't shut down again. But if you guys are interested in the kernel, I can make a video, but I think Das Gregor has done a few videos on it, especially his downgrade video, which I kind of followed, but it's pretty basic stuff, especially with the my little cheat sheet, because he did a lot of this stuff. He had he did have VirtualBox prior to that, so he had to rebuild those modules, but I don't have that installed right now. But I've been having some weird compiling issues with Simple Screen Recorder. So I probably, at least on this machine, I'll test out OBS. I did make a video because I was going to try doing my live stream here with Simple Screen Recorder. That's what was happening yesterday, and probably it would work, but yeah, I couldn't get it to work through that. So, but I guess I can still show you guys what it goes into making a kernel. So you need to go to USR/SRC, and then if you go back one, there's a Linux one, and if you say LSLA, it links it to the 4.9.72 kernel, which if we go to EIX Gentoo sources, they mask the kernel that I had installed. And I do have a Twitter account, and I actually did see. Yeah, Almighty Ohm. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alrighty Ohm. My bad. Is the ohm part of where you get the ohm part? Like, so there's a few things I can think of with ohms, like the electricity, or is it from Nausicaa, one of the Japanese movie? But I did, again, sorry to go on off on tangents here, but I did do have a Twitter account. All I do is follows a few things. I don't really know how to tweet. I don't get it. But Gen 2 I follow on there. They saying the whole 4.14 and all of this. Apparently there's stuff that's breaking, like modules and stuff, which I've never experienced, and that's why they're masking it. And they're gonna keep it masked, and because they're in the process of stabilization of these kernels when they discovered a breakage. So that's the only reason why uh, a lot of the 4.x series has been, or 4.12, 4.14 has been done. I did consider going to the absolute latest, but I'm sure they would be masking that as well. So, but yeah, let me show you. So once you get everything installed, uh, I would love to try to do this under Arch or another one. I think it's a little. I tried doing it under Arch when I was on Arch. I was following the wiki guide, but I couldn't get it to work. So, oh, okay. No, not arrogant at all. Um, so if we go into the Linux. First time doing this, I got lost. So menu, sorry, make menu config. I know this live stream is all over the place, but didn't really have much of a topic. Not too many people were here when I was telling you about my issues that I've been having with Gentoo, so but now I've talked about a lot of stuff. So the only thing that I really touched in here is the device drivers and file systems. So if you go into the file systems, only ext4 is there, and I have ext2 for my boot partition. You do need Fuse for like Windows stuff, like CD-ROM file system, that, but I really don't touch much here. Same thing with the firmware. I am considering going to BFQ. Oh, right, BFS. All right, not BFS. I forget what it is, but it's a kernel patch. It's an I/O scheduler. So I forget what it's called. I think it's in this one though. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's another IO or IO. Yeah, this one. No, and I don't know why that's pink. It doesn't look like that. I have the exact same configuration files from my desktop and my laptop, and I don't have this pink bordering. So I have tried Integros. It was okay. I thought same thing with Manjaro. I tried Manjaro for a week, and I'm like, why am I on Manjaro when I can use Arch? So I do find everyone says Integros is an Arch system. It's based off of Arch. However, you can change it to a pure Arch uh, distro if you want, because it has its own repo, but you can delete that and then you pretty much have Arch. I think I did that once before, discovering the Architect installer and all these different installers. That was the simplest way to get an Arch system up if you wanted a GUI, which was interesting. I have been on Gentoo for almost a year. I think, let me take a look at my videos here. I'll come back to this. But I think it's been a year. I think my switchover video was early February, something like that. Let me see here. Total OS is doing it too. Okay, my channel, my videos. I installed it about 10 months ago, 11 months ago, so February of last year, I think. I can't believe it's been that long. It was shortly, yeah, about 10 months ago. I posted the video on February 7th, so it was shortly after that, or shortly before that, that I installed Gentoo, and I've learned loads doing it. Granted, everyone says use Arch, use Gentoo to find out more about the Linux stuff. I don't see it that way. I think each one of them, Hello, Reed Kohler. Um, I think to know Linux in general, you need to know the file system. You need to do stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, any distro will lead to issues. But, you know, granted, the only thing that Arch and Gentoo teaches you is what is happening behind the installer. That is it. Other than that, Gentoo a little bit because there is use flags in like Debian packages, RPM packages, but they set like everything. I'm going to assume. I can't tell exactly. Where in Gentoo you can cherry pick what you want. So yeah, for those who don't know, my real name is Mike. My last name is Boyle, so Irish. Boyle is very Irish. There's a county, there's everything else like that. So my name is Michael Boyle. Um, so my whole Irish Luck 83 thing was actually from the AOL days. So that's how I kept it since then. And not very few times have I not been able to use that username. So I think, yeah. Thank you already, Slancha. I would have a beer, but I think I ran out. And my beer of choice is, you would think it would be Guinness, but it's not. I do like a beer called, oh my gosh, Smittix. It's a lighter version uh, of Guinness. They are made by the Guinness factory. If you guys get a chance to drink it, it's quite good. I do love a good pale ale. So if you guys have any good, don't know of cannabis, I'll try that though. I again I've tried Foster's uh, Australian beer. I didn't mind it. I know a lot of Aussies will say it's probably deer piss or whatever. Who knows what like Caddy would say, or I could probably talk to him. He does hang out on Das Linux, Das Gregor's channel. So Robert 410, yeah, it's those are pretty good. I've tried Heineken, I just didn't like that. Corona's good. Everyone, craps on Budweiser. I don't mind it. It's not bad. They say like Bud Light is like water. No, I feel like Miller Miller Lite's water to me. So I do try everything. One of the darkest beers I ever drank was a beer called Rasputin, and I think Das Gregor actually drinks some of that, and he enjoys it. I don't know how anyone can enjoy it. uh, you know, can enjoy anything with that dark. It's like black, and I think there was a funny skit with not Bill Maher. Oh, forget it. It was a comedian. I can't remember his name. He was on SNL, but he did a whole bit on Scottish beer, and he like shit himself right after drinking one. So stouts, yeah, I think it's definitely a stout for sure. All right, Olg, I'll try Guix. I usually when I try new distros, I try them in either a spare laptop or a virtual machine. I know virtual machines don't give you what it would be like under a real hardware, but it's a good testing ground. Moving around. That's why I think Manjaro was pretty good learning the Pac-Man stuff. I once I moved to Arch, I didn't use like what was it, Octopi or the others where you can do it in a GUI form. There's no point in GUIs to be honest, because GUIs can break. And if GUIs break and you don't know where it is, that these systems are located in, then you're screwed. Again, GUIs are nice and everything, but if you don't know, like sound, a lot of people have sound issues. Yeah, NixOS is another good one, Adrian. I've heard good things about that. I think Acubase, the one who does the sailfish videos, and I think Linux on the WinME, he actually uses NixOS, and I think he enjoys that. He keeps bouncing back and forth between Arch and NixOS. Rollbacks. Yeah, I think with the OpenSUSE, I tried the rollback stuff. It was alright. On my spare laptop, I was going to try the BSDs, but you need to plug it in on Ethernet. There's no way, from what I know of, if you guys know, let me know, to do an install with Wi-Fi. It gets so far into the install where you wipe everything before realizing, oh, hey, guess what? I need to plug this into my router. But I did try Slackware. That was interesting. After watching one of Caddy's videos, he made me interested more into it. And then I found another YouTuber who has maybe like 700 or 800 subscribers called Steven's Room, and he does a lot of Slackware and different distros that I've never heard of, like Pennsylvania, and it's more Solaris, like stuff like that. And he shows you the install and everything else like that. I think one of my bigger complaints in my videos is my mouth breathing. I try not to do that, but my mic is so, like, if I have it up here, I don't know if you guys could still hear me or not. I usually have it right up against my mouth, and I do breathe through my mouth because I'm sure I got, some weird stuff with my nose and everything. But if that irritates you, I try not to edit my videos. You just see it raw. But there are times I do have to go back into my videos and do those big, sucking air like I've never breathed in my life before. So. But I feel I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this. One of my cats is tail flicking me. He's very irritated for some reason. I don't know why. But let me know if you guys have anything for the newer videos coming up. I think I have some ideas, but not many. I keep saying that in my videos. Hey, if you have anything, because there are times I have like a surge of video ideas and then I got nothing, and I don't know if I want to do videos forcibly like uh a lot of other Linux YouTubers do. I think they want subscribers and views. I don't care about that really. If I have something I want to show you guys or have video evidence for myself, I'll make it. Like, there are times I wish I would have gone back and made a video as I'm doing it with that ZNC because I did have issues with it. Yeah. So I am enjoying. I think again, I may not stay full time on Gentoo because I do have two computers. My laptop, which I use a lot of my videos on, and my desktop here. Um, but I wanted to get your guys' opinion on, since this is a new year, I have been on i3 for what will be this year 5 years, and I will be on Linux starting in March for 5 years. I've only been on Linux for 5 years, so I feel like I've gone quite a bit away or since then because I do my social media of choice is Google Plus, And I've seen some of my old screenshots, and I was on the Linux Mint community for a long time, and there's a guy who helped me like theme Mate. Because I didn't know anything about it, and I've come a long way since then. I did use KDE for a while and Gnome, but Gnome's been pissing me off because of Wayland. I don't like Wayland. I've always had issues with Wayland. Like, the weirdest bug that I had with Wayland was when I was on, I don't know if it was Wayland per se or the distro, but I was on Fedora and my entire screen inverted itself. And with it being GNOME, I had no idea how to realign. I don't, because in Windows there's a way to do it. If you hit like the Alt button and the arrow keys, it can actually invert. So if you want to play a funny prank on like a coworker at work, if they forget to lock their computer, that's a pretty good joke. Like they won't know how to do it. I actually have done it a few times, even to my boss, and he's gotten a little pissed off at me, but whatever. He's uh he's pretty down to earth guy, so. But I have used BSPWM. I've used Herbstluft, which I hope I'm saying correctly. I think I've heard Das Gregor say it a few times, so I'm gonna base the guy who's, can probably speak German better than me. I only know basic words in German, and I've used Xmonad, so I want to try to use a different tiling manager. So let me know. I can use DWM, Herbstluft, which Herbstluft doesn't work very well with on Gentoo for some reason. Anytime that I put in my configuration, which works flawlessly on Arch, like my bar is blank, so I don't know what's going on. I have a lot of people want me to look at Sway. Maybe I will, but again, I feel Wayland is definitely in its early. It's not ready. It was like the whole build up with Mir and Unity 8. Oh, this is gonna be like revolutionary and stuff like that. I saw. Granted, yeah, X11's old. I know it's like 30 years old or whatever, but why did they call it? Like, I think I watched one of Brian Lunduke's Linux Thursdays. They had Joe Collins on, and he makes a fair point. Why did they call it Wayland? Why not X12 or something similar to that? I find name conventions very very interesting. But let me know which uh or not distro, but which tiling window manager you want me to use for a year. I want to try to use a different one for 1 year. I'll still have i3 in the back, just waiting, because I know how Dirk absolutely loves um, loves i3. I think Das Gregor had a video setting the record straight that I did not like. I brainwashed Das Gregor and how dare I and I'm evil and stuff like that. I know it's all in good jest, but I still find it funny that he actually used the Dirk the Daring uh, thing from my previous video as his thumbnail. So at least he has a sense of humor. Hopefully, a lot of people got that reference because I don't know if many people get the X or the Dirk the Daring. Have any of you guys actually played the game Dragon Slayer, which Dirk is from? At least the NES version, because the Sega Genesis version is uh is definitely different than the NES one. It's like one of the worst games I've ever played. It's really hard to get through at least the first stage. So, because one hit kills you, but everyone else like takes millions of hits. Like my wife bought me a RetroPie, and I've loaded Atari games Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo games. I think I have like 700 NES games, and I've been playing some of the worst games of the system based off of the Angry Video Game Nerd. I wanted to always find out because he always says like the weird thing about control and some of these games that he's bitched and moaned about the control. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So, Disgruntled Des from X11. I didn't know that, Adrian. That's pretty cool. Yes, I think I think there was a oh, let me see if I can find it. There was a video that I think we posted on the Tiling Window Manager's Google Plus page. I think it was a talk where this girl talked about 5 or 6 tiling window managers, but she taught you what each of them did, which I found interesting because the only thing I looked at before seeing that video was if I could manually do it or if it was a set different or a set sorry or a set window tiling scheme. Let me see if I can find it here. If anyone is on Google Plus, please join the Tiling Window Managers. It's very cool. Let me see if I can find this. I know someone did post it. Yeah, here it is. The alternative.ch Linux days. Linux for experts. So this video is very good. She explains the whole tiling process. There's the tree and there's the other one. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I felt like that's like a rare gem, a sexy, geeky nerd who knows about Linux. That's like a diamond in the rough. Yeah, her voice did get annoying after a while, but yeah, she wasn't that too bad on the eyes, that's for sure. But she did know her stuff. I'm sure she did a lot of, stuff, but she always had struggles between the keybinds of the different distros or the different tiling window managers that she was using, but she said that she did it to where it's functional. But you can make it functional by having the same keybinds across all of them. I wish she would have touched upon that because anytime that I've tried like i3, Xmonad, Herp Slooped, DWM, BSPWM, I've always had the same keybinds. I've tried to make everything consistent. So again, my rig is an dual monitor. I don't think I've ever tried other than i3 like Xmonad. Herp Sloof doesn't work too well on a dual monitor. I don't know about DWM. Yeah, I thought honestly about doing Stump WM or Rat Poison because they're interesting. I think a lot of people consider like open box a little bit of a tiling, which it's not, but Rat Poison and Stump kind of remind me of them a little bit. I think I've tried JWM, uh, which the current leader of the Linux, the LDC, she actually uses it. I've looked at it. I don't understand it. If I had more time to play around with it, I would do a video to show you guys how to pretty stuff up. Uh, awesome. There's something about awesome that I don't know what it is about awesome, but I just did not like about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like you right click. Maybe it's the menu system. I don't know. Lua is not too hard to learn. Same thing with any of these. Herp Sleuth isn't that hard to learn because You just follow or you just mimic what's already in there to add some more stuff. Like Haskell took me a while just because, or Xmonad because it's in Haskell. Took me a while. Yeah, I will check Stump WM. If I do decide to put Arch Linux back on a spare laptop, that's the good thing about Arch because it's binary, but it gave me a chance to try different stuff out if I liked it. That's one good thing about it. Where here on Gen 2, I could probably do the same thing, but you have to worry about compile times and everything else like that. And who knows, there might be a use flag that you need to do before, because coming to Gen 2, I did not know about XFT and others like that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I think it's in the RxVT Unicode. Oh, forgot. So I didn't know about the alt font width, did not know about XFT, WC width, Unicode 3. Pixbuff is for the images, like I said before. So, because a lot of this stuff is already built in like Arch. Granted, there's like AUR packages where you can take and add stuff out, but how are you supposed to know about this without having another person like Meshi Das Gregor telling you what to do, which ones to do it? Because I think the first time that I installed Gen 2, I followed Meshi's guide, even though it's like 2 or 3 years old, and I followed the handbook. Um, the handbook is definitely very good. It doesn't, hold your hand. You're supposed to do most of the work, but it's in plain English. As you know, I think I've looked at the Arch install recently, and it's because they did have a beginner's guide and an install guide. The beginner's guide was very good. I think they merged the two together. There's no, and a lot of stuff they've deprecated, but I still do. It still works. Same thing in Gen 2. Like I think the first time you're supposed to mount into your chroot, you're supposed to mount the proc, and it's mount dash dash types now, but you could do dash T proc. So I'm thinking of like some videos, like I've said in the past, about maybe partitioning. And I did join, or I did go to a local Linux users group, and one of the guys wants to know more about the Linux file system. And I think I have one of my Linux textbooks around because I did take a couple of Linux classes in college, and tell you guys what each of that does. Because it's, it can get intimidating because you have your whole root file system. If any one of these things, if any one of these things gets deleted, you can't boot into your system. Like what does the lib64, the media, the mount? Some of this is pretty obvious, like the bins, the boot, obviously. There's all the boot stuff, the system, and what do each one of these do. The USR, which someone got mad that I called it user because it's not user, but whatever. USR, fine. The var, which you can have a separate partition for, which I don't know anyone who's separated var into their own partition. So I got some ideas, but I want to make videos that you guys want to watch, what you're stumped at. I think someone came into the Linux distro community and wanted me to try to do SC Linux under Gentoo since there's no video guides out there, which I could do, but I'm worried about borking the system and it not booting up, and especially if I do this on my laptop, then I would have to rebuild Gentoo or go somewhere else. So I'm a little hesitant to go to Gent, a little bit tried to go to another one. So thank you, Adrian. I'm glad other people say user because yeah, I know it's the USR. Just what are you gonna say? Like the ETC? Everyone says Etsy. So what are you gonna say? DEV? No, it's dev. So just say USR. Like good God. Some people just love to bitch just for the love of bitching. So, solid files. Yeah, I think it is. I've never had an SSD. I know there's ways to, like on Linux, it can damage it if you don't have like trim. I've never done that. So, but yeah, I've been having issues in Gen 2 at the time. Luckily, I could change it from this. But if I was on i3, I think I would have to do the date and blah blah blah. I might do a NTP server setup on Gentoo video, or not just Gentoo, just a general one. Because I don't think Arch has a NTP server out of the box. I think you have to set that up yourself. Yeah, the host. Yeah, I'm definitely in the have a separate your home partition just in case something happens, because this does save me. Because I have some old videos here. I have images. I got config files here that I would have had to start all over again if I deleted this somehow. The biggest thing that I had issues with, and this is why the first time I switched to Gentoo, I borked it, was in the F stab. So cd etc vim fstab. So in most distributions like Arch and others, this is done for you. In Gentoo, you have to do it yourself. And my biggest issue was the dump slash pass. I didn't know about this. I know the colors are a bit hard to read. I don't know why. It does say no A time here. I had, what's the other one? Where it doesn't show up. Like it's not mounted at all. The read write, the swap I have, and you have to make sure that, you don't have to do the UUID stuff, but you have to make sure everything on here is perfect or it will not boot. So if I changed my boot parameters from 02 to 12, it will not boot. Or it will boot, but it will give me like a kernel panic. Hey, Meshi! We're talking about you. Yeah, Meshi is definitely one of those guys that I found early on, and he's helped me out big time. I've stolen a lot of his configs recently, just because he just has it well organized. I don't have any of them here, but I think one of them actually I do. I'm sure you will like this, Meshi. Uh, the home. Vim. I'm sorry. Easy. Haha. Yeah, I took a lot of stuff from you. I did like a lot of your aliases, but I do keep some of my own, like my i3 EI when I was on, Arch update. Instead of typing out sudo pacman syu all the time, you just type in update. Yeah, I know you're happy to share. Yeah, I've just been pretty much this is a big ramble video, that's for sure. I've gone all over the place, so I'm still considering, doing a encrypted Gentoo one of these days. I think that would be interesting. Yeah, you really do. I cherry picked your aliases for sure. I only used the Gentoo ones. You got aliases up the ass. That is for sure. I think actually I have your configs here. Let's see. Yep, dot desktop. Let's see here. Where's your C? Yeah, this is just his. So if you think mine's like confusing, look at all these freaking aliases. Like, good God. Like, how do you even remember some of this stuff? I think I did take some of your FFmpeg, but I still don't know how to do FFmpeg on it. I think mine is just there for shits and giggles. That's for sure. But I think aliases are definitely very good, especially if you keep typing in the same crap over and over again, like here in Gentoo and on Arch. So that's good, Ben. Yeah, I was a little bit of afraid to post that farewell Arch Hello Gentoo video. I thought there was going to be a lot of backlash on it, but I've gotten a lot of views, like, oh, I consider a lot of views, like 600 views and like 40 likes. So a lot of people have agreed with my viewpoints, which is good. And I'm glad a lot of people aren't like all too, you know, butthurt over it. Because, awesome. I am still planning on doing Linux from scratch. Glad to hear it, Ben. Let me know how that goes. I've I've been fascinated with Linux from scratch ever since I saw Das Gregor's video on it, where you have to compile everything. Now that right there is hardcore, and that will teach you Linux, that's for sure. If you have to set every little aspect up, that's Linux, instead of having an installer or having a stage 3 or stage 4, which I think Gentoo is actually going towards. And when I first started on Gentoo, I was trying to get into possibly becoming a Gentoo developer, to be honest. And I joined the security team, which was the fastest thing since you didn't really need to do a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, Das Gregor is definitely back on LFS, and I think we are going to get a video from him pretty soon. He is busy, that's for sure. Like, he has like I think his employer is like remodeling something, and he has to do the IT thing. He's like the only IT guy for the company, so that kind of sucks. But I yeah, I've said I'm still studying for my Security Plus. Hopefully, take that in the next month or two. Hopefully, I have that done before my birthday, which is in March. I will be 35, so I do have a bit of a baby face, a little bit, but if I shaved off my, goatee here, definitely I would have a baby face. So, yeah, so I have some Gentours here like Meshi, but maybe you can tell me what's going on with this compile. I tried to get, this is my latest Gentoo Woe, I should say. So I want simple screen recorder. Which is now, it used to be in an overlay, but now it's in the main tree. So I'm going to get the 3.9 3.9.R1. So it compiles to 80% and then fails. You'll see this failing in a little bit. Let's make sure my thing is not going. Meshi, I think he did go to the binary Chrome. I think he only has like a few binary ones. The only binary thing on my system is Firefox, and I don't even use it that much. Ever since your video, I've only done Qbrowser. I do love Qt Browser so much. I have Qt Browser over here on my right hand screen, so I can talk to you, see the live chat, and and make sure that the stream is still working because I am on OBS. Are you kidding me? What? Why did it work now? Okay, well it would fail, and I had no idea why it would fail. I am shocked that it completed the compilation. I am shocked. I think it's the all power Meshi has by watching it works. So, thank you Meshi for coming into my live stream. But let me know if you guys still want me to do these live streams. It was just gonna be a random one. I wanted to try it at least once. But if you just want me to do videos and stuff like that, but yeah, let me know if you guys want me to do more of these in the future. I could try to do it like once a month, but it would be late like this, because I do have to look after my son, do have to study, do have to do house cleaning stuff and everything. I'm in a basement right now. I think my wife is about to go to bed, so I should probably get some sleep too soon. Oh, that's good, Adrian. I'm glad you like these streams. Thank you, Meshi. You keep making your videos too. I you I try to do some emulation on your videos and Das Gregor's videos, but I think I need to stick to my own style for sure. You know, especially I think I try to emulate you in my Arch install. So just try to get straight to the point and don't ramble, but I started to ramble on certain things that I feel like were pretty obvious, like the locale.gen, all like that kind of stuff. I like to explain it because not too many people explain that kind of stuff. Good night, Meshi. Have a good night. Yeah, Ben, I tried to think if there was enough material. It's pretty basic, I guess. I'm still thinking maybe on doing a Gen 2 install video, and I could do it there. But with like every person who has a webcam and knows how to do, capture their screen has done on Arch install, so that's been done. But I feel like it's a rite of passage to do the install of Gentoo yourself. For the XFCE that you see here, I followed their guide. I used the meta package and I installed, which I think includes Thunar, but it does not include the terminal and some other packages. Alright, I'll try to do a Gentoo one once I get virtual machine up and running here. So, but let's see how long this stream's been going on. Almost an hour. It's almost as long as one of my videos, so if not longer. Like I've seen some of Total OS's live streams and he goes all over the place, but he does it for like 3 hours, and I don't know how you can talk for 3 hours like that. But I think now that I'm getting more interaction from the live chat, I could probably go on for another hour, to be honest. But again, I've tried to do like a Q&A thing, but I think it's done. I think it's gone by. I've answered probably a lot of people's wondering. Oh, oh, okay. I've been also having some weird crashes tonight with my Gentoo, so if the stream ends, you'll know why. I will always let you guys know if a video is ending or a stream's gonna end, or if I, for whatever reason, give up and decide not to do videos anymore. I'm not gonna leave you wondering like how Spatry or some other, you know, Linux guys have done it. I'm glad Infleet Galactic did a video like, hey, I'm too busy. Peace out. I will do videos whenever I can, but I'm too busy. Which, if I do have a second kid, I probably will have to give up videos for at least a while until it stabilizes. Just because having two kids, especially a toddler and an infant or newborn, would probably take up all of my time. So, alright, well, I can, again, make videos. Whatever people want me to make a video on, I will try my best to do it. I'm gonna try not to promise anything, but like the whole SE Linux thing, someone wants me to do that on Gen 2, but the documentation isn't very good unless I find an online guide to do it and then show that to you, because a lot of the times in a lot of my videos, that's what happens. I find a guide, write down some notes, and do it that way. XFCE is a definitely not as, I think the only issue that I had with KDE is that the development cycle is too fast. GNOME has been pissing me off, so it's either XFCE or Mate. I think I've tried Mate in the past. And like when I started Linux, I started on, I think, Ubuntu 12.10. I moved quickly to Mint, and I tried the Mate version of Mint, and I loved it. But now, now that I've been on like others, Mate is, I think I prefer XFCE to Mate, even though Mate is definitely good. Yeah, but with the Plasma meta, yeah, not everything is included though. I would think like a meta package would include everything, but it doesn't. Like especially on Arch. I think I tried the Arch one. Console's not included, nor is Dolphin, which is weird. I would think that I've actually tried to do a video on taking a fork of GNOME 2 and putting i3 or another window manager on it. I failed at that. I was actually in the process of doing that, and yeah, it was not going well. Same thing. The only other video for i3 that I need to make is there's a feature since 4.11 of i3 you can save your layouts. It's supposed to be a JSON, a script, but it has never worked for me. So if you close out of a screen or reboot, when you open up your i3, sign in, certain layout should appear, and it's never worked for me. So unless some of you guys have done it, make a video. I'm curious how to do it. I'm always interested. I'm always try to get people to, if you don't like my material or whatever, make your own video. See, and it did take me a long time to get used to talking to myself. I'm looking at a camera and I'm talking to you guys, so I feel a little easier this time around than just talking to your computer screen. Because that's all you're really doing, and it's really weird because you're talking to yourself. So, so, yeah, I tried i3 gaps. I don't like gaps. I think it's just a wasted real estate of the screen. Like if you really want the distinctiveness, put it in floating mode or whatever, or make a bigger, uh, box. So Ulg, I did try to look at that. Actually, I might have the developer's guide. Um, I was a apprentice with the security team. However, I wasn't liking it. I don't expect complete one-on-one, but I was to the point where I was supposed to be searching for different vulnerabilities and seeing them through. There's good enough documentation, but the help that I was trying to get, the times didn't line up and everything. Let me see if I can get my bookmarks here. I have a Gentoo thing here. Uh, Here's the developer's guide. Let's hopefully this works. Okay, well, let's see if that loads up. But yeah, so here's the e-build writing. It tells you how to make an e-build. It's probably more complicated than a package build, that's for sure. So you have to start this off. Whites indenting, white space, it tells you what you need to do. And it explains the whole, let me open up one of these things again. So if we do EIX Gen 2 sources again. So in the green, it means it's stable. M is masked. And the yellow is technically in testing, but they don't call it testing. They call it something else. So then you say auto package, tells you the source prepare. So they tell you how to write an e-build package, but again, it's not probably as simple as making a make package. There is Bugzilla, Ulg. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Yeah, and so you can modify it. I have tried looking into this, so let me show you the security. Like anyone, honestly, they are looking for help, because I can log back into my Bugzilla, but here's the GLSA coordinator. Where is it? Project security. But again, I ran out of time. There's other projects. There's even a installer project for Gentoo, which is quite interesting, because if there's an installer for Gentoo, then Calculate, Redcore, Sabayon are like pretty much wiped off the map. So Yuri, Blue Knight is very, very nice. My person who was teaching me was Aaron, or B-Man. I was on here, so I don't think there was meetings, but the architecture, how to join, you just email them if you want to join it, and then they tell you how to find bugs and everything else like that. I'll show you the Bugzilla, because that's where you search for the bugs in there. So, and then you do they run a stabilization, and if it's good, let me log in. I'm gonna Alright, so these were the bugs. Let's see if my bugs hit. So open bugs, I have still 2 open bugs on here. And they are still in progress. One of them was for drop bear, which I'm surprised that's still there. So you have the URL, if there is anything. You have the whiteboard, which tells you the severity. So C2 is not very severe, to be honest. E-build, it's the current e-build. You have to make sure you add the correct project to it and pretty much tell you what the CVE is or the vulnerability on here. And then this is one of the developers in there, and it says to bump this up, but this hasn't been there for, no one has touched it. So if I wanted to search for another bug, I would go to my, that's why I use Twitter, because the CVE guideline is actually, they have a tweet, and they tweet a bunch of vulnerabilities that they have discovered. And then you have to search the CVE number in here, and if someone has not reported it, then you can open up a bug report and do that. It sounds more complicated than it actually is. The complication arose when I had to search for in progress bugs and saying, hey, what's the holdup? Or hey, can we do a stabilization? Or hey, can we do a GLSA report? Because actually on the home, go to Gentoo home, a lot of these reports, these, if it's severe enough, they will email it out or post it here on the home. So we'll say the OpenSSL one. Probably a lot of these are ones that can, like a hacker can get into your system, or or certain code can be overwritten like an excuse me, like an SQL injection. So it's definitely very interesting. You can read more of the Bugzilla entries. Let's actually take a look. So if there's a squiggly line, that means it's like in the testing one, and whoever gets to do that. So here, whiteboard, so A3, it's blocked. There is a GLSA, so this is kind of severe. Let me show you guys what the A's and stuff like that are. So there's the treatment policy. So the A level is the default. So if it was like a one that everyone uses or a very specific one, you would say A. And then 3 is a denial of service, passwords, or full database leaks. The very high ones are remote execution. I didn't really touch most of that. Honestly, the ones that I touched most was marginal, and it was usually a 3, which is just a denial of service, and those got done fairly quickly. They, yeah, I think they would. I would love to see those because there's a lot of there's Alan McRae, who is a developer of Arch, did a talk about it, about the whole infrastructure and how everything works with Gentoo. Or sorry, with Arch, but there's not too many with Gentoo. I'm shocked that I've actually have found a few things. The one that I have found that a lot of people found is a talk. You can't see the screen, and the guy is quite monotone. But then there's others from like recent talks of like one of the other projects is there's a project of like orphaned off packages that you can take and maintain, and they'll help you maintain it. So if you want to maintain a package, you can do it, and they can help you. You would have to, excuse me, you would have to file a maintainer bug. They explain everything, how to do it. I'm trying to remember what the project is called, but that's the one big thing I really love about Gentoo. They have all these projects, and if you get into it, you can become a developer. Where with Arch Linux, there's not as many projects. You have to be asked on as a developer. So if they have a niche that they need to fill, they can ask a person on. And then there's the whole trusted user thing, which I think are, very close to developers anyway. They just don't call them developers. They maintain certain packages and stuff like that, which you need another trusted user to say, hey, this guy is good to become a trusted user. And then Alan McRae on the talk, he explains how to become a trusted user. There's like a voting process and all that. But the one thing I do love about this is that there's so many. See if I can show you guys where the. Let's go to the wiki. There's a lot of projects, and the install project is done by one guy. So it's not going to be for a while. This might not be the correct. Alright, let's go to the main web page. I think there's a git. No. I'm sorry. gen2.org. And I am using Quantum for the Firefox, but it's not very quick, so. So how to become, contribute, get the code. So get involved. So if you want to contribute, this should show you guys the offer. Let me see if I can find the list of all the projects. I forget exactly where it is. It's been a while since I've gone into this thing, so I'm sure this is very thrilling talk. So, but again, I do love how stuff works like this, because with a lot of distros you don't know how everything's handled. And I do like how this, like, I feel like, yeah, one of the Art Gentoo should do it. See if I can find this. No. Alright, I'm probably not going to find this here, so. But yeah, just search around. I know it's in the wiki, I think, to get involved if you want to get involved. But I feel it's easier to get involved in Gentoo than any of the other distros, at least in my experience. Because I did help with testing out the Arch when I was in the testing repos. I helped that out with sign-offs. Like there was a period of time in the mailing lists you could see what person did how many sign-offs, and there was a period where a bunch of you know applications were not getting signed off, like they would stay there. So there was a bunch of there was a call for help on the mailing list, and I answered it. So I still have access to do Arch Linux sign-offs if I really choose to, even though I'm not on Arch Linux. So, but yeah, so they go through the testing phase, you sign off, and if enough people sign off, they push it back, they push it to one of the 4 repos: community, core, multi-lib, stuff like that. Actually, I could probably still show that to you. Still have my sign-in stuff. So I don't get in trouble with any other. Sorry, guys. So it's on the main page. You have a different thing here, and then sign offs. And then here are all of the packages that can be signed off. So if it says yes, that means it could probably get pushed out. It's been considered stable. Oh, there's one of mine. Wow, that has been since November. That just tells you not too many people either use mono or anthrax doesn't care or forgot about it or whatnot. But you could see how many packages are in the right now in the testing repo, FFmpeg, the file systems, armor. So when it's this small, I probably do some sign-offs, but when say GNOME or KDE gets pushed into that, it's way too many for me to figure out which packages I have and which ones are good, so I usually just completely forget about it. Like, especially with Haskell. Haskell's got a bunch of packages, and you have to sign off every single one of those. It's just a pain in the ass, that's for sure. So, OBS Studio, huh. I am definitely liking OBS Studio so far. That's what this looks like. From the video that I watched, it should have had a webcam thing by itself, but I guess I'll just use GUVC view. So, but yeah, that's just a little insight on some of the Arch and Gentoo stuff. So, what are you guys like interested in with like geekery and general stuff? Because I think I said earlier, for those who weren't here, I saw The Last Jedi just now. I wanted to avoid the hype, and I saw a lot of like the spoiler videos, and I don't know if any of you guys have seen it yet, but don't want to spoil anything if you guys haven't seen it yet. But there's a lot of stuff that I feel like they picked from the previous and or make homages from the original trilogy. So no, I agree that Haskell is a little scary. Let me see if I even have my Xmonad stuff here. I don't think so. Not in here, but let me check mine if I have it. I don't. I think I've shown the Haskell before in one of my videos, so. But yeah, you know, I'm just like an average Linux user, to be honest. I don't really do anything special. More than anyone else, I watch, Linux videos and tech videos and gaming videos and stuff like that. I'm definitely a retro gamer. I could try to show how to load games on a Raspberry Pi if you guys want, like the Retro Pi, because that took me a little bit to figure out. Because I have the instructions that I got here, and it just says to it never says to put in a blank USB. It just says, hey, name it this. And yeah, they never supplied a USB with this package, so which is unfortunate. So I do have speaking of retro game, I still have my Super Nintendo, and I still play that. It's especially on long compiles down here. I pop in Super Mario Land or Super Mario World, Jurassic Park, Link to the Past, the classic games. I think I have Super Mario All-Stars too. which honestly, I still have not beaten a single Mario game, I don't think. I think I recently just beat the original Zelda like 3 years ago. So because it just, it takes you a while to figure it out. And I loved the old NES games because they did not hold your hand. You die once or you just die and you have to start the game all over again. They don't handhold like in modern games. I think they go based off of graphics more than gameplay. Like the recent game trilogy that I played was the Uncharted series. I loved those games because it was like an Indiana Jones clone. So, but it's 10 o'clock my time. I should probably be heading to bed. So let me guys know if you guys want me to do more of these, like maybe once a month. I can try to do a live stream now that I have it working. I can, get it, try to doing this. This isn't like the best way for me to, interact with you guys. I think the next time I would want to try to do the mumble. And I will do a video on how to set up the mumble if you want to join me and actually interact with me. How to set it up to do that because there's somewhat of a strict rule in the Linux distro community's mumble room. They have to have push to talk, and not too many people know about that. So, and I can see if you are running Windows or not. It does tell you what distro you're running. So when the mumble was bigger, I had to kick a lot of people out because they weren't running. If you're interested in Linux, but if you keep coming back on Windows, then we got an issue a little bit. Yeah, I'll try. And one of my end of my videos, I'll just say, hey, this is going to be the next. I'll try to do a live stream, but I want to interact with you guys more so than just a text box because I am on IRC all the time. Because here's my, I'm on 15 different IRCs, so if you guys want to come in to the Linux distro, or even Let's Learn Linux from Strive, who I've met on here. Yeah, you could chat with me there at all. I'm on the Gen 2. I've seen Ben in the Gen 2 one getting help. So I know some of you guys are on the IRC. If you guys want to chat with me, I'm all ears. I'm willing to help if you have questions on one of my videos because I don't get a lot of comments in my videos. So, which I wish I would get more comments in my videos because then it gives me an idea what I need to do differently or more material. So, but I think I'm going to call the live stream done for tonight. I will try to do it next month at this time if I want to do the live stream. So hopefully you guys have a good night, and this will be uploaded as a regular video. Let me know if you have ideas for me, because I think besides the mumble thing, I'm going to try to put VirtualBox on this computer and show you some interesting distros that I've come across. So, and Dirk, who I've just subscribed to, he's going to be doing a told you so video, kinda, and I'm sure you're going to see a reply from me because Das Gregor has already done one. So, Dirk is awesome. He's got a bit of an accent, so it does take a little time for you to, understand some of the stuff that he's saying, but he's a calculate enthusiast. He also does, I believe, Slackware and stuff like that. And another underrated Linux distro or Linux YouTuber is Linux for Today. He does a lot of videos, but they're kind of basic stuff. I think he did an entire video on the difference between sudo and su. He did an LFS introduction. He did a command line tutorial, but he doesn't get a lot of views, and he's got some pretty good content. But when he does like a install video of say OpenSUSE, and it's five videos, he uploads them all, which I don't understand why he does that, but because if I have a two-parter, I like to separate it by a week. Because what if something changes between the two videos? So I do have. I need to update the my recommended videos because I think it's. Sorry, I got a lot of crap open here. Let me see if I can show you guys here. There we go. So YouTube. Yes, I still use Qt browser too. I've probably given up on LuaKit, but so if you go to my channel, here's the feature channel. So Meshi and Das Gregor on there. But I try to maintain this. When I took over the YouTube channel from someone else, a lot of this was on there. So I can go through some of these and post them to the featured channel. Azure was one of them. Nixie Pixel, Spatry hasn't done a video in God knows how long. Let's see here. A year ago. So he hasn't even done anything in a year. He has his own like IRC channel, and that's been dead for, well, a year. GitHub, Das Gregor, Meshi. Here's the Dirk, which I love that he actually used the icon here, and he does calculate and other stuff like that. Sysadmin Girl is another good one. She's got a lot of subscribers. Let me see, Linux for today right here. He does have about 1,300, so he's got a good subscriber base in my opinion. But as you can see, some of the video commands: 1, Fedora 26, Antegros, OpenSUSE, free BSD install. See, like the parts 1, 2, 3, he released on one single day, which again, don't know if I like that. He's got a lot of videos, but he tries to tell you the basics of stuff, like channel permission or command permissions, which I can do some of these, but I think he goes a little bit more in depth. Like in the permissions video, 28 minutes worth. So troubleshoot a bad boot. He emulates it, so it's pretty good. He hasn't done one in 2 weeks, but once he does videos, he chugs them out. So let me go back here. No, I don't know. I think Spatry's fine, Shater, but yeah, so now I'm just rambling like normal. So I'm going to, end this stream right now. Sorry, Shater, you came at the back end of it. But I will have this uploaded. This will upload automatically, and so you should be able to watch some of it. So it's been an hour since I've been talking, and I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. So, but you guys have a good night, and again, let me know if you guys have any ideas for videos. Something that could take like 15 minutes. I don't want to do a 15 or a half hour, 45-minute video if I don't have to. I try to keep it to 10, 15 minutes at most. So you guys have a good night, and I will let you guys know when the next time I do this. So